Welcome back to Versus. As always, a presentation of Auto Trader Matt Baker with BCLions.com. Giulio Caravatta, Lions Radio Network, AM 730. He's over his smoked meat Montreal high.
I only had one.
Oh, good. I can say I beat you. I had two. I pulled the Giulio. I went back for lunch the next day, because you got to eat before the game, right?
Sure.
Moving along to from smoked meat to watermelons, I guess. Lions Riders, huge matchup as far as implications goes, but we'll take a look at three key areas like we always do. Have to talk about these two quarterbacks, Mike O'Reilly, Cody Fajardo. These are two of the top four pivots in the league as far as passing yards goes. Could be some aerial attacks on both sides here.
I know that probably Cody wants to continue his success that he had. Cody's one of those quarterbacks that has that skill set, right? That he's got a good arm, but he's mobile. Those guys are very, very difficult to game plan against and try to defend because from a defensive standpoint, there's always going to be breakdowns. And when you break down, they're usually there to capitalize, right? And the other thing that Cody does so well is they're always moving to try to throw. And that's why you get those big strikes, right? Because for a defensive back, it's very, very difficult to cover somebody for that long. They benefited from being at home for the first month and a half, I think, and now we're going to have to play on the road the second half. So this is going to be a big game for them. Mike O'Reilly, what do you say about him, right? Like I just was thinking about this after the game, Matt. I've been very fortunate in my broadcasting career that I've been able to broadcast some of the best quarterbacks that have ever played. Dave Dickinson, Travis Lulay, now Mike O'Reilly. And when you watch a guy perform at the level that he's performing, it's so impressive. His composure, his leadership, just his ability to put the ball in tight spaces, all those things that make great quarterbacks. And I'm sure that he wants to play against that defense 100% healthy, unlike week one where he could barely squeeze the football. And he was still completing passes.
3 times this season now named the top performer of the week. We're going to talk about what this Lions defense has to do here in a couple of different aspects. Let's talk first about Saskatchewan's running game. If the passing game's not working, they got a guy in the backfield, William Powell, who can pound the rock. This Lions front in for another good test here.
Well, I mean, and that's what makes them such a good offense, right? Is their ability to run the ball, and then they have success on first down, and then they have that offense where he's going to nickel and dime you. He's going to take what the defense gives you. That's Jason Moss's offense, right? Like the slants and the quick outs and the dump downs. If you give them that opportunity to run their offense like that, then you're going to be in trouble. And there was no better example than in week one, right? Like you saw how that when they're clicking on all cylinders, how dangerous they can be. The Lions, started to get some success because they were able to stop them on first down. So that's going to be the big key, and stopping them on first down is stopping William Powell. In this league, you got to have some presence of a running game. And if you can run the ball for 5-6 yards on every crack, you're going to give your offense a really, really good opportunity to keep itself on the field. For defensively, they're going to have their hands full with William Powell and Cody Fajardo. I know that we're going to talk about this as well, but I'm sure there's a little bit of a chip on that Lions defense his shoulder as far as wanting to prove to not only themselves but to Saskatchewan that the defense that they saw in that first half has improved very, very much. I'm sure they're excited about playing this game.
Yeah, let's hit on that, specifically talking about the secondary. Such a great job in Montreal. They gave up some yards, but a lot of knockdowns, couple big interceptions.
Should have had a couple more interceptions.
Yeah, I was going to say, a couple drops. I know Sales, Peters, those guys still kicking themselves, but 31-0 to start off in that crazy week one first half. But RP's defensive backs have really responded well, and they're going to want to contain those Canadian receivers for Saskatchewan.
Absolutely. And you just think about where they were in week one and where they are today. I don't know if I've ever seen that many knockdowns in a game. They had 13.
Tied a league record.
Because I was just thinking, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I bet you Gary Peters had 5 or 6 of those knockdowns. You think about the combination. They've got a couple of wily vets on that weak side with TJ and Gary Peters. And then on the other side, you got a couple of hungry rookies in Keontae Harden and Jalen Edwards-Cooper who have really, really come into their own. My goodness, for two guys that are rookies playing in this league and playing on that wide side. They have done an amazing job. And then you throw now in Anthony Thompson, who's done a really nice job at that safety spot, and Marcus Sales stepping into that Sam. So that defense is really kind of coming into its own. They're going to love another crack at the Saskatchewan Roughrider offense.
Yeah, guys, interchangeable. You love to see that, like you said. Three great topics. This is a big one. Going to be hard to sleep here tonight before the game. I know you're jacked up. Let's go.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Matt, that this is a big early season game, but you throw in the fact that it's Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Who always has a real good presence at the stadium, and from what I understand, it's sold out, right? The stadium is sold out, and that's going to be a great atmosphere in there. It's going to be electric.
Possible playoff preview. You never know. Versus presented by Auto Trader. He's Giulio. I'm Matthew Baker, and we'll see you on Friday.